Feels like it's coming off the mirrors. And there, look, and there. A traditional old English pub, the Thorn Inn. And another traditional old English pub. Yes, it's another traditional old English pub. The Ring o' Bells. So, here we are. It's got a bespoke, stone-roofed... Oh, it's not a shed, is it? Enclosure. Good morning, Coach Biker here, and these are just a few cheap things that I've done to make my bike a bit more comfortable in the first few weeks, while I save up for the incredibly expensive service and heated grips install. Now, I spent all my money on gear first of all, and what was left I spent on the bike. And so these are the few bits and pieces I've put on the bike that have not cost me a lot of money. All of them will probably get changed in time once the fiscal weather changes. Anyway, here goes. At the moment I'm on the motorway, I'm in 6th gear, I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and I've fitted a spoiler I had in the garage from the CB500X. Clips on great. I think they're £11 on eBay, and it's a 29cm wide one. I can't give you a link, there's thousands of them. The ones I like actually adjust. You can move them up and down. Some of them are fixed or have a clip in the middle. Yeah, this is the spoiler I was on about. It's got these arms that you can adjust. If you loosen this, you can tilt it that way. And if you undo these, one there, you can adjust it for height. Now, in my experience, I've found that it's not the height so much that seems to make the difference for me, and I say it's all personal. I seem to get a better result if I have the spoiler out in front, so the wind hits that with a gap. That's just the way it's worked for me. The only problem with them is they're very tricky to put together if you've not done one before, and the instructions are tiny. But I have to say they do work. I set them up so they're out in front of the screen, so it hits the wind before it gets to the screen, which tends to throw it over the top. And that has done just enough to quieten down the noise at these sort of speeds. Obviously, if you're standing up off-road, you don't need one of those. However, I have discovered something which I'm not certain of yet, so perhaps somebody who's got one of these bikes could tell me is rubbish or they agree with. But these mirrors, which are the first OEM mirrors I've ever had on a bike that I love, they're fantastic. They are causing quite a lot of turbulence. It's coming straight through there and straight onto the side of my helmet. Both sides. It's not the camera, there's a jet off both of them. So that's something else to investigate. Now, unfortunately, I've got a pair of folding cheapo Chinese mirrors in the garage somewhere if I can find them, which should go straight on. It'd be a shame because I really like these mirrors. But if I was travelling a long way, those two jets of turbulence, it's really quite strong at 70 miles an hour on the motorway. I could do without. At least with folding ones, you could just either fold them out of the way or hope that they've got different aerodynamic properties. But the little spoiler on the front has really quietened it down considerably. There's much less noise. There's nothing on my peak now. I caveat all these things with saying it's such a personal thing. You can't go off what I say. And I will at some point buy the touring screen, the Ducati touring screen. I don't know if that's any better, but knowing me, I'll probably end up with a Ducati touring screen and the spoiler on that at some point. But for now, 11 quid made a big difference for me. Shame about the mirror wind. Maybe it's just today, but there's a jet there and a jet there. Right, my second modification, which there is a video on, see above, cost me a lot less thanks to the kindness and generosity of Dr. J. I do tease him a lot and we wind each other up, but very kind. He's lent me his Garmin Zumo XT, which you can see ahead of me. Telling me where to go. I don't always take any notice of it, but it's a handy thing to have. And also I did mount that with a Perimoto GPS mount, which I did pay for, and is excellent. So the Perimoto GPS bar will be staying on this bike no matter what. I really rate his stuff. I'll be getting a carrier from him at some point as well, because they're just the best. But that's to come one day. I am on 362 miles and I need to get to about 600 because I'm 20 miles from the garage, but I've got 4 weeks, it might even be 5 weeks, and only 300 miles left. Damn. Now I could bring that forward, but as I've expressed already, I skint, man. Can't think why, buying a Ducati, why would I be skint? So I booked it in near my birthday, so that hopefully I can get enough resources on my birthday to pay for the service and the heated grips install. So I'm gonna have to ration it. Nice ride today. Fortunately it's going to be very cold the rest of this week, so I think this will be the only ride for this week. Anyway, the next thing that I did to the bike, immediately I got it. I'd seen it on Fortnite actually, just gave me the idea. Until I can afford a carrier, I just took the rear seat off and found an old tail bag that was in my garage. Please don't ask me for a link, I don't think they're made anymore. I bought 2 of them about 5 years ago. I think they were 20 quid each. But the important thing is they are 15 litres in size, which seems to be the perfect size if you don't want to put your crash helmet in it. For me, for my sort of going out with my waterproofs, my bike pump, my dyno plugs, etc. 15 litres seems perfect. I don't mean 15 litres, you see them that say 8 and 20 and the concertina. I don't like those things. This is just a pure 15 litre tail bag. It's quite flat. I wasn't sure about the looks of it when I first put it on, but no, I'm not too unhappy with it, and it does the job. Here's my interior liner. What's it say on it? Oh look, bit of advertising, JNS. You can have that for free. So in there I've got my waterproofs, batteries, etc. It's got my camera batteries in it. It's got, you know, various bits and bobs. Now I have to have it in what I call a waterproof liner, which is a giant carrier bag. Because it's not waterproof, and also if you go anywhere and you leave the bike parked, there's no lock on it. I know I could put a chain around it or something, but I don't want to lug that around, so I just pull the carrier bag out of the bike and take it with me. I do think one day carrier bags, the way they're being banned and phased out, are going to become quite valuable. Either that or you'll be paying 30 quid for a waterproof liner that turns out to be a bespoke carrier bag. The next thing I did, well, this is a bike just for me. It's not for me to take a pillion on, it's just for me to ride around. It's my luxury to myself, with frank admiration. Was I removed the rear foot pegs. Now I'm not too sure of the law in Britain. I've got a feeling that at MOT, if you've got a seat that could take a pillion, you have to have pillion pegs. But if you have a cowl or whatever, I don't think you do. So as my tail bag is in the place of the rear seat, I thought I'd take them off. They might be useful for strapping things down later on if I go on a longer tour and need to take some bigger luggage, but for now I don't need them. I just thought I'd reduce the weight while I get used to the bike. One last thing to snag. and I just covered the holes with some 12mm M8 Allen bolts. These are the bolts, so I've put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 on that side, and presumably 2 on the other side. I don't know why these 2 are here, but already they're full of dirt, so I'll keep the dirt out of the frame. I think those frame lugs are probably sealed anyway, but just in case. Totally unnecessary, but to my mind, if you can keep water and muck out of threads, probably better long term. My next cheapo add-on, and again there's no link, look on eBay. I will buy an RNG one probably at some point, which are £50, but for the time being I've had them before and I've had them fall off before. I bought a cheap eBay side stand, kickstand, foot plate, and you really do need one on this bike, because when the first time I went out on it, I decided to stand it on some grass for the obligatory Insta photo, and it sank straight in and nearly went over. Okay, not a good idea, it's sinking into the ground. Stand needs a foot on it, just sank right in. Pretty standard. So as I say, I found a cheap one, £11. I'm sure it came from the Far East. It's gone on, I've Loctited it, which is what I have learned with those things. You need to Loctite them or they just vibrate off. And I'll show you that here. Straightforward, they're on eBay, at least that's where I found them. So this is the place where the other day a bike sank right in. So let's try out the cheapo side stand foot. Yep, it's good. This ground's very soft. It does its job. Not bad for £12. Of course, in the past, cheap ones I've noticed tend to fall apart when you're riding around, so I have Loctited that. This is exactly the same spot where it sank, and it's fine. I am a bit dubious about Ducati side stands full stop though. They always seem to be quite wobbly. Need to have a look at this well one day. There's a holy well in there, apparently. Anyway, let's go and have a look at this well. Well, may as well. So, here we are. It's got a bespoke, stone-roofed... Oh, it's not a shed, is it? Enclosure. Beautifully made. And there's the water flowing down. Great Budworth Parish Council. Have this water tested quarterly. Results posted on the website. Nitrate levels can change. That would be the fertiliser off the land, but presumably you can drink that. I'm not sure what that says. I think it says something about an unending flow of water from heaven above, religious motif. So, look at the thickness of those beams, stanchions and beams. Of course, you've got your graffiti, but it's high quality because it's carved, not sprayed on. What a lovely place. A lovely old thing. Well, it's a shame it's right up against the main road. And it's got a wrought iron gate. I do like that. Well, I never. Oh, another thing I did, which cost nothing, was I adjusted this gear lever from that hole to that hole, which lifted the gear lever up so I could get my big boots through. And it's just about good enough. So, this gear lever for me is a bit low, but there's an adjustment bolt there. There. Not through there. I would, however, like some wider foot pegs one day. Again, they cost money, so that costs nothing to adjust that. And oh, the other thing, with my £20 sprayer, paint sprayer from Amazon. I did spray some ACF 50 on the cylinder head because the short mudguard just throws dirt straight up there all the time, and I know some people have lost paint off the top, so look, there's ACF 50 on it now. There's a vain hope it will protect it. Didn't cost me anything because I already had it, and I already had the sprayer as well. Paint sprayer from Amazon's brilliant. I think I'm on a 1mm jet. You can't tell it's even spraying it, it's so fine. That was a nice little excursion. Here's another little excursion for you. I've been up here many times, so you may have seen it on my channel. No apologies, I just love the place. This is Great Budworth, which is a sort of Tudory village, often used in films. It was used in the worst adaptation, look at that, the worst adaptation of War of the Worlds I've ever seen, that was done by the BBC about 8 years ago. Absolutely appalling, but the setting, very nice. I think one of the tripods took that church out from memory. Very nice pub as well, look, George and the Dragon Hotel.
And they're open! Now this is what we call an Old English pub.
Oh, this is Great Budworth. Lovely place. So on that note, I think that is all the Cheapskate accessories or mods that I've done to this bike so far. Things I'd like to do: some wider foot pegs. I just think I'd be more comfortable. Some bark busters. I just don't like these plastic handguards. If the bike does even just fall over, they just snap and bend your levers, so you can't beat bark busters. Probably a proper touring screen, give that a go, and maybe some although I really don't want to put them on, but if this wind thing is caused by the mirrors, I may have to go with some of those folding mirrors, double take mirrors, which I really like. But before I buy those, I've got some cheap ones in the garage which are pretty similar. I could try those and see if it cuts off this wind thing. But you know, it is a motorbike, there's always going to be some wind. It definitely does seem to come off those mirrors though. Anybody else found that? Let me know. Anywho, leaving Great Budworth on 370 miles, 230 till the service. That's because I am 20 odd miles away, 30 miles away from the garage, so I'll be on 630 by the time I get there. I don't suppose 650 would really matter, but anyway, I'm running out of miles that I've got left, so I'm going to head home, park Dante up, undercover, out the way, because the next few days are going to be cold and wet. Now, we wouldn't want to get in wet, would we? It's only a dirt bike. Hodge Biker is out. Oh, we don't want his battery getting cold either, because we know what happens there. Link above.